Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Z2X. I'm here joined by my mother.
Hello, hello.
We're gonna slip and slide into a very precarious topic here. A Sean P Diddy Combs. uh, you
That
might
was a
have
good one.
you might have heard a few months back how P Diddy got caught for a few terrible accusations.
Well, he's been accused, criminal court, 5
Mhm.
criminal counts is against him
Yep.
right now.
I'm pretty sure more to come, I imagine,
Oh,
but
yeah, I think that they will. These are the ones that they're doing it right now are mostly based on sex trafficking and stuff. But let's go back
yeah,
before we
but
start.
yeah,
start
let's
going to-
yeah, like so P Diddy, as just as a little quick reminder, he got caught for sex trafficking allegations alongside many other things. His home was raided in March of last year, and then 6 months ago now, roughly at the end of last year, they finally arrested him as he was in Florida attempting to flee in an airplane.
Yeah.
They caught him at a private airport.
Yep.
And
He was
this,
taken off.
yeah, there's
But
been allegations of baby oil and all of this.
well, not allegations. We know for a fact after there's
Yeah.
been 2 days now of it's going to go on for like 8 weeks apparently, but 6 to 8 weeks they think the trial is going to go. But so the first 2 days it's been verified the baby oil. But start off what you were telling me when he was first raided.
Yeah, what? So I was like, Mom, did you hear? P Diddy got caught with 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and you're like, no way, that's
I'm like, no
impossible.
way.
That's an exaggeration.
That's an exaggeration. Who would need 1,000 bottles of
Yeah, and
baby
I'm like,
oil?
that's what
That
they're
was my
saying.
thing. I was like, oh, that's just a joke. They must be exaggerating.
It's 1,000
Nobody would-
bottles.
But now, when you start listening to the court
Yeah.
case, nobody's allowed because it's federal court. So you can't have in federal court. You cannot have recording. You cannot have videos.
That's why you have the paintings that you see people do
Yeah,
oftentimes.
so that's why you always do the really bad artist renditions. But there is people in there that are like, there's a guy inner city. What didn't I send you some of his text
Yeah.
messages? Inner City Press. That's right. He was like, as it's going, like talking, like texting out what they were saying, and the depositions between the two. So that I got to see some of that and hear some of that. And then I watched a bunch of other videos on it. Again, I didn't believe you. I literally didn't believe you until
1,000 bottles is absurd. By the way, these aren't like tiny little bottles. These are like gallon bottles.
No, they're no, they're not gallon bottles, but they're the very large, 36 ounces or something like that. 63 ounces. I don't remember how many ounces. They're the large baby bottles, like huge. But we find out in the court cases that he would require at least 10 to 15 of them per quote unquote
Freak off.
out times. Freak offs, that's right. And he would, because he liked her and the other people that she was with glistening.
Dude, that's not even just glistening. You're like a dolphin at that point.
Well,
Like,
apparently they would one time there was a pool, maybe there's even more, but of a pool where he put it in there and she came in and he made her get in there with her clothes and everything. It's just, he's got a fetish with the baby oil apparently.
Yeah.
This is a fetish. So you brought up a lot of those when he was like,
Yeah,
when
when
they were doing that.
yeah, the
about-
baby oil, and the funny thing is, during that time, his lawyer was like, well, you see, Costco.
Yeah, he just
Americans
collects
love going to Costco, and they
Yeah.
buy in bulk
But-
all the time.
And that's the thing. And also, before all this, too, when Cassie, gosh, what is her
Neistat?
last name?
No.
No, Cassie Ventura, one of the chicks that he dated, who was the one that she had tried to file charges against him also, that she had said that he beat her, and he said, I never did anything. So now we find
did
out
not
that
hit
he
her.
actually, I did not hit her.
I did
And
not.
and we have video now that he did, and he would beat the shit out of her, and all these things that he would say, I didn't do, and we now find out he did. So we now know he's a compulsive liar. on top of that. He was never going to be honest. And he's saying, and his team are saying that everything was consensual because, the thing that they're trying right now.
They're arguing, yeah.
Yeah, they're arguing is, let me look at my notes. There are 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, and or coercion. And I'm going to get to the fraud because I'm going to tell you what I think is happening. 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitutions,
Illegal.
and 1 count of illegal prostitutions, allegedly. 1 count of racketeering conspiracy. So that's what they have right now. Mind you, they also found guns, ammunition, AR. Like here, let's see. They found narcotics like ketamine, ecstasy, and like large amounts were found.
Like dealing amounts.
1,000 bottle lubricant.
1,000 bottles.
Not only of baby oil, but and lubricant also, because they used Astroglide or something like that. And videos, tons and tons of videos. And I learned that when you saw some of the pictures of when they went and raided his homes and there was holes in the wall, well, the FBI have these like infrared stuff, and where they hid videos or SD cards or whatever, they found them. And they also had 9 AR-15 style weapons, including 3 AR-15s that had scratched off serial numbers and drum magazine, which we know that is against law. So they haven't charged them with this part. That part's being held, I think. Other evidence is all the electronic devices, phones, computers, and items that were seized as evidence for his sex trafficking, racketeering, and related offense. Also, I learned that they said that the reason why he wasn't granted bail is because of his behavior and his aggression, and he could flee. But they also said is because part of this and part of the misconduct that they're saying, like that he had coercion, is that he had a tendency to intimidate witnesses.
Yeah.
And
he definitely did. Like, I mean, we all know that it comes with stuff like everything from the Jeffrey Epstein case to similar that. Of course, like, the thing is, they could. I mean, he was literally basically caught trying to leave, but you could come up with 1,000 excuses for that. Like, oh, you know, Sean Diddy Combs, he goes on vacation all the time. You just caught him at a bad time, But what you can, and you can't really prove directly that he was trying to run away. What you can prove, though, there's evidence of is that he was definitely, like, he's definitely been intimidating people, and he has all this blackmail on
years,
so many people.
For years. So. Now, a lot of the word on the street is they're like, oh, they're going to try it, and this is what they're doing. His team is trying to say that he's just, you may not like him. He's gross. He's sexually deviant, but this was consenting adults, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Which is the best case they can do. Literally,
that's the best they can do.
The only thing they can say is, Your Honor, being a freak ain't illegal. This is America.
No, that's exactly word for word, I think, that most people are saying. But this is what they're missing. For one, Cassie isn't the only person that's going to come out. They used to have 4 victims that were coming up. They're not going to be told. Their identity is going to be
they're anonymous.
Covered. They're anonymous. And then they have now a 5th one that is said that they will have their identity too. But also, so what was I going to say about, so after this, they're going to have to show all those sex tapes, the S tapes, I can't say it out loud, of the freak offs. And they will, all the jury and the people in the court, like the judge, both sides will see these videos. But Cassie, her lawyer asked that the press do not get to watch it, because I guess the press have been lining up to take quote unquote chance, their pieces, and try to have quote unquote their time to watch the videos. And so her lawyer is trying to block access of the press, which I don't blame her. I mean, that's embarrassing and everything, and it's a part of her life that she just wants to move on from. And I didn't know this, but when she first became his protege, because he signed a contract with her when she was 19, and then he came on to her at 21, and she'd only been with one person. And so what he did to her, he like is disgusting. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
like
it's not,
seriously,
I'm not
these are
sorry.
these are like the unspeakable crimes that you're like,
It,
oh my god.
yeah, he's gross. He is a disgusting human being. And you know why? I think that it's not just the, oh, it's not illegal to be freaky, because he signed a contract with her. She signed a contract with him that he was going to be her manager and her record producer. They signed a 10 album contract, and they only did one. They only got one out of her, and some people are like, well, she wasn't a very good singer, blah, blah. Well, then he should let go of that contract. He didn't.
Well, usually, like that's what would happen was if you sign a contract and you're like I am a producer or whatever, and they're like,
Uh-huh.
okay, you're gonna have Donda 2 out at the end of this year, and if you fail that, they might give you an extension maybe once, and then they're like, okay, you're done, right? Like you
Yeah,
took too
yeah.
long. That's what a normal thing would do,
Yeah.
but that's the equivalent
But
of. Like it literally is indentured servitude. I think you mentioned
no,
that.
I think that, and yeah, that's what I said. It's indentured servitude, and they don't realize that. Guess what? That is a fucking against
It's
the
the
law.
same.
He controlled everything of her,
Yeah,
everything of hers, all her money, everything. There was only a few little bit that she got her own money. She ended up buying her own house in her name because he would put her up in places, and he had a key and can come and go anytime he went, and he would. He would. She was not allowed to do anything without him. She had a dress. She had shaved her head to wear wigs that he approved of because he didn't like her hair natural because he said that she looked too Hispanic, Mexican is his
yeah.
words.
And I'm like, man, don't like get with a Latina if you do not want a Latina. Okay, like
Well,
what is this?
I,
You're taking the beans out of my burrito here. Okay.
I don't think she is Hispanic, is she?
I
I don't
thought
know.
I thought she was Hispanic.
I really don't know anything about her. I remember some song that came out like years and years ago when she first became popular, and then all of a sudden she was just his girlfriend. That's all you knew about. He was a dog though, because he was married to Kim. I can't remember her last name, and then he had a bunch of kids with her. And he cheated. Apparently, he doesn't know what monogamous is because he cheats on everybody. And
What, you're
everything.
telling me that Sean P Diddy freak off connoisseur Holmes doesn't know what monogamy is? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's disgusting. So yeah, I think that they're gonna. I think by the end of all this, now mind you, we've got 6 to 8 weeks that this is going to be going on. So there's going to be a lot. We can touch back on it once a week or something if we want. But I think that that's what they're going to go down to. I think they're going to show that she was an indentured servitude because he, like I said, he controlled everything, her bank accounts, everything. And she quote unquote worked, but he never produced anything. And she just called it busy work so that she wouldn't be off doing other things. But
Yeah.
so when it comes down to the sex stuff, the freak offs, they would last between 36 hours to 72 hours.
Yeah,
long.
one to like literally 1.5 to like I heard that like the longest one was like a week plus long.
Yeah.
It was just
Well,
like
she said without breaks, it's 72 hours sometimes without breaks. And she would have little breaks, and he'd hook her up to IVs to refresh. And sometimes
yeah, because
she
they would literally like lose so much like water because they wouldn't drink water or anything
dehydrate, yeah,
and dehydrate
yeah.
that they would be at risk of like actually dying. Like
Well, and yeah, and he would pump her with drugs, even though the one guy that was on the thing said he never saw her or he didn't know if she was drunk or alcoholic because he didn't see it. But he's like, doesn't mean that she wasn't. But he also did say, though, that she was hesitant about doing something. I don't know what it was. Or she got sick or something like that. Like, well, because, he pumped her with these drugs. She's not eating or drinking water. She puked, and then I don't remember if this was the time or not, because there's a lot when you watch those things. Oh my God, it's disgusting. But he took her into another room, and I guess the prostitute dude, could hear
the
him
male
beating
escort.
was beating the shit. Combs was beating the shit out of her, and because I think she didn't want to continue, and she was shaking, came back, and the guy felt sorry for her, and he's like, and he couldn't continue after that. Like it all stopped because he couldn't, keep it up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm
Going.
done.
Yeah, he was like, this is just, and this was a regular. Like, she tried to hire regulars, which I can understand because this ended up being her job, quote unquote, because she said that they would do this like once a week, if not like, and obviously it lasted not just one day. So it would take her so many days to get better, to recuperate after all this, and then they would just do it again. So that ended up being her job. So he did put her in a prostitution.
Yeah, he literally, yeah, and it's like
he forced traffic.
Yeah, it's basically indentured servitude in the way like the old timey style, where they'd be like, hey, I'm gonna give you like, or okay, you're in debt, right? Anyways, you like have to live with me and you have to work for me. And your living expenses are $400. Also, there's interest, and you make $425 per month.
Well, and the thing is, he would take shit away from her if she didn't do things that he liked. So I think that sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion
is accurate.
I think the coercion is. I think it is accurate, and I think they're gonna bring it together and put it in there to say, listen, she was freaking 21 years old. She quote unquote thought she loved him, but he was in his 40s. He took advantage of her. He signed a contract with her and would not let it out. She had to actually, when she got married to her husband a year after her and P Diddy finally broke up.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
She had to do it. She had to do it in private and a secrecy because they didn't want him to get beat up or threatened
or like killed even.
Yeah, because Sean Combs was like, she was his property. And he would say that to other people, that she was his property. And you'll learn later, too, like there was a recording studio where she was recording and he came in and he went blazing to another rapper.
He got violent.
Don't talk to her. Don't you look at her. Don't you fucking be around her. Blah, 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 blah. He made Cassie hold his gun like he did with J-Lo when they were in the dance club, and when he shot a chick, and then his bodyguard is the one quote unquote that went down, but his bodyguard actually shot another person too. So I hope he goes down. That's all I have to say. It's like his freak offs. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah. So I want to get into something that is also tells you a little bit about P. Diddy's character. So they would of course do their hotel, plus they would ruin the hotels, mind you, because of the oil, and he would make her do it if it's that time of the month. So it would ruin furniture and shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That I'd hate to be the hotel staff. I'm like,
yeah, they had to pay a lot. They had to pay a lot of money, and I think that they weren't allowed to do some places. Anyway, he would go under the name of Frank White or Frank Black, but Frank White was Notorious B.I.G.'s his name that he would use. So that was kind of a weird slap in the face, and weird that he would use that as a pseudonym when he would do hotel and do these freak offs parties too. And also another
Frank White, because in Notorious B.I.G., real name Christopher Wallace, often referred to himself as Frank White in his music.
Yeah, and so P. Diddy would use that as an alias in a hotel.
Which was also, that name alone was a reference to the drug lord character played by Christopher Walken in the film King of New York. So it's like both of them are references to drugs, but specifically, Notorious B.I.G. did it first. Yeah. Like Kingpin.
So anyway, and so then P. Diddy, the intimidation, which he's been known to intimidate people. Also, the other really creepy thing that is so disgusting and weird. I mean, I don't know if it's disgusting, but it's really weird. So apparently, he would make Cassie wear white fingernail polish that was a French manicure, because he liked the way that the brown looked against her white fingernails looked against his brown junk.
Yeah.
But also, a couple of people noticed that were in the courtroom listening to it, that his mother wears her fingernails like that.
Why is always Freud? It's always, why was Freud right? You know what he said, like, Why does it always loop back around to that? God damn
the
you.
thing is, his mom and his kids are in the courtroom and they're listening to all this disgusting stuff that their dad did. I'm sure he told them that she's lying, but you know, the videos, I don't know if they won't be there when the videos are shown, because you can't be in the courtroom when they're doing the videos. They're going to just let the jurors see things. Anyway, also another thing besides the mom the white nails is let me see, what else was I gonna say, because then you threw me off with the Freudian thing. Oh yeah, so he asked her, what do you call your grandpa? And she's like, Pop Pop. And he's like, that's from now on what you will call me, Pop Pop.
I said it again. Sigmund Freud, you did it again, man.
Isn't that so
creepy?
Again, he's warping her brain. He's grooming her. She's a victim.
Well, because it's definitely, not to play armchair psychologist here, but to me that feels like trying to associate himself with like her grandpa. So who she
loved and adored.
Who she loved and adored. So then like she won't like leave him basically, or won't fight back.
She won't look at him bad. Yeah, and he's trying to, and she said like, of course P Diddy or Sean Combs beat the shit out of her. We have the video, you know, even though he said he didn't. And she said it happened all the time, and he was bipolar and would just. But I always thought that he always looked like
bipolar, bisexual, a biatch.
We're gonna see. We haven't heard anything about him being with other men, but
allegedly.
He allegedly, but he did like to have it when the other men had their moment with Cassie, to wipe their moment time on his nub.
That is the funniest way to say it.
Well, I didn't know what else how to say it, because I don't want to be, you know, yeah. That's the episode name. P Diddy's moment time. No, it wasn't his moment time, but it was the other people's moment time, and he liked it rubbed on him. So he liked to share in their moment, Dallin. Sharing is caring, honestly. That's P Diddy's motto. Sharing is caring. Gosh. And he would, and so what his team is trying to say is that she could have left any time. They kept asking her, like, she's like, I loved him because I loved him, and he was just, you know, she knew what she was doing. She was a consenting adult, and basically they're trying to take it from like she's just a fake Me Tooer sort of like person. She's just lying. Yeah. She just regretted it after, and then yeah, and I think that the victim. Where they're looking at the victim and calling her basically that she liked all this, when she clearly is up there saying I didn't, but I didn't know how to stop it, because again, she was young, and she even said that she had never even had certain sexual things happen to her with a man, and P Diddy was the first one that did it, and he would force her to do things on him that she had never done before. I mean, obviously these freak offs are pretty gross. We'll learn more about, I think so. My opinion and what I think is going to go is that indentured servitude, where I think that's what's going to happen, is where it's going to flow into that. And then that's how they get them on sex trafficking, because that's what sex trafficking is. Yeah, exactly. And even though she seemed like she was coherent, she really couldn't leave. She didn't have anything that was her own. He would take her car. He would, you know, take the apartment. She had one house at Studio City, I think is what it was, but he didn't like her to be there. He wanted her close to him. She stayed where she did what he told her to do. That's what I think is going to do. And the drugs. He drugged her up, sometimes knowingly, sometimes not. Now, the other victims, I think, are going to come out and they're going to show that he drugged them. I think he might have pulled a Cosby or something. I'm not quite sure. Hey. I think that he might have. And then, of course, the coercion. No. Actually, he did, because I remember they found in some of the baby oil, there were certain narcotics that were found in it that would be absorbed through the skin via touch. Yeah, that sedated. It was sedated stuff that would be in the baby oil themselves. So when, you know, they'd rub it all over their bodies, it would then absorb into the skin and get them like completely like And
gonked out.
He liked it warmed out up, so that would even really make it go into the skin faster if it was
Yeah,
warmed up.
it's just gonna instantly absorb.
He made her warm it up. Also, where they're gonna change this because he made her organize all of this. Like he sometimes his people did it, but mostly he made her organize these freak offs.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would try to get the same male prostitutes as she had before because she didn't want to
Get a trillion STDs.
Yeah, right, or be with all these partners. I mean, she was just this young person. I think he's disgusting and he's a manipulative human being. But anyway, so there, and then the guns, that's obviously illegal too, all the stuff that he had, so they can charge him off that separately. I think they're going to hold off on those things for other issues, but I think that they have a lot more that they're just warming up now because so many people are like, oh, it's okay. He just has like creepy sex. He didn't do anything illegal, but he did. And there's going to be a lot more coming out that he did do that. And I think that he did, like, there's one girl that was like I think she trained under him like as an artist or something, like, or she was doing design, and he raped her. She's going to go up there too. And made her feel like, just to show his character. This is going to show his character. And then they're going to hit real hard on something else. Of course, in the indentured servitude. I think that's what they're going to do with all the other parts. I think it's going to come down to they're going to show that she was his property and she was his servant in a lot of ways, and that he kept her with that contract. 10 albums. Like, she'd never lived that out,
10 albums, she, like, especially with the fact she could barely do anything, she would basically...
No, he wouldn't, yeah.
Maybe when she was 80, she'd be able to. It's literally like putting someone in, like, a cave and being like, make $1 million and I'll let you out. Like, what?
Yeah.
How?
How is she ever... And then when, like I said, when she did do recordings and stuff, she'd have all these songs and he wouldn't put an album or anything like that out. Like, and he's trying to say she wasn't a very good singer, but we know she was because she was really popular before he got her. So that's a lie. That's, again, victim shaming.
That's a lie.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and how would we have known? Because he kept her and he ruined her, I mean, it's just really sad. And so we'll see. I can't wait to get more into it and see more, but it's going to be a dirty, slimy,
very
slippery
dirty
6 weeks.
Yeah, because his lawyers are going to argue they're going to gaslight, gatekeep girl boss their way out of this one. At least they're going to try, because the only way as a lawyer you can argue this is to play the case in the most immoral way,
Yeah.
Like...
Well, and because she's pregnant, Cassie is pregnant. She's like 8.5 months pregnant. And so what they said, they didn't want her to walk through the courtroom so the jury didn't see her pregnant because it's going to make them sympathize. And they're like, what do you mean she has to get out and walk out? I mean, are you fucking idiot? Like, it's just going to show you his moral character, that they're like, oh, they're trying to make her look like she's a mother. Well, guess what? She is. She is. And she is like that. I mean, whatever. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. I was just talking about, like, because his first lawyer quit, if you remember, right? Like...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one that did the Costco talking, yeah. Oh, look, he just bought it at Costco.
Yeah, he just bought it at Costco. I mean, like... Yeah, it is...
But the lawyer that he has now, the female, her dad, they own the law firm. Her dad represents P Diddy, and he's right now representing P Diddy's mom for some case. I don't know, but they've been representing him for a very long time. So they love the money. They love his money. They're going to be like, oh yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. He's just a freak. No, he's disgusting, and he did do wrong, and we're gonna learn a lot more that he's a rapist. He drugs people up, like you said, intentionally and unintentionally, and uses guns to coerce them and intimidate them.
Yeah.
Like this recording studio, he did do that to a dude, pulled a gun out on him.
I wouldn't be
I don't.
surprised if he has a stash of cash still hidden somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure he
Like,
does. I am so
in my
sure.
opinion, the moment that they would get him out, so the things that could happen, these are best case scenarios for P Diddy at this point. P Diddy, he argues that he was just mentally ill, he's just freaky,
Yeah, they might say mentally ill.
yeah,
too.
mentally ill, freaky, whatever. He gets like the sex ed whatever classes like to help
I'm
fix
a
him.
sex addict.
Yeah, that stuff, and then he gets out like that. The other option that is less good for P Diddy, but like the only way that I could see him getting out of this at all is they somehow get him bail. He somehow gets bail, and he literally immediately grabs whatever cash he has remaining, gets on a private airplane, and leaves to away from this country, never to be seen again. There's nothing. Wherever it ends for P Diddy, this is where his story ends effectively, because he's either going to prison or we're never hearing or seeing of him ever again.
People are like, oh, he's gonna get off. No, he's not. He's not gonna get off. They have other stuff. Everybody keeps forgetting that they found narcotics in his house, both houses in Miami and in LA. They found guns in Miami and with a ton of ammunition that were, the numbers were sawed off. 3 or how many of them did I say that they?
It was like 7 of them. Of these firearms. Like he had a shiza load of firearms.
Yeah, he had 9 AR-15 weapons, but 3 of the AR-15s had the scratched off serial.
Yeah,
numbers
because the
in drum magazines.
scratched off serial numbers, that is a no-go.
Yeah, so they don't. Yeah, because we know that so that they can hurt people and not be traced back to them. So they haven't charged him with those right now yet.
Which, by the way,
that's the thing.
Each case of that, by the way, in Florida at least, where a lot of these crimes took place, each one of those is a 5-year charge in prison with up to 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine.
Yeah, and people aren't realizing that they have yet to charge him with other stuff. They have a lot more stuff they can charge him.
Actually, 10 years.
This is just the first. Yeah, this is just the first 5 that they're doing, and people are like, oh, he's gonna get off. Being a dirty boy in bed isn't gonna.
Yeah, we know he got off. All right, we don't need to say it.
But guess what? Hiring prostitutes is illegal. Beating people is illegal, although that's not really what they're doing when they're saying trafficking. And then but it's going to turn around, I think, to servitude, to that girl and other people. I think there's going to be other people that he did this to involved with that will come out, that things were happening. And I don't think that it didn't just happen with her. He's been doing this with other people. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But that's the
I'm pretty sure it would be considered like sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, and conspiracy of racketeering.
Yeah, and the racketeering, I'm gonna guess, is the drugs and the prostitution and bringing people in and taking money from her. You know what I mean? Well, maybe even other. We'll find out. 6 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks it's going to be going, so it's got a lot to know. But my personal opinion, everybody's saying, oh no, he's just a freak, it's not illegal to be a freak. But I'm like, nope, it is illegal to have somebody in indentured servitude.
It's like, actually, it quite literally is illegal to be a freak. We like a lot of our laws we have in the United States of America are basically anti-freak laws.
Really, truthfully, some of the sexual things he did probably would be against the law in some things. It's gross. We can't say it here.
Yeah, I'll leave a link to like one of the guys that talked about it, because it's like,
I watched a video of the dude, and he was like, this is what they said, this is what it did. I mean, he talks about it because he did a live thing on it, and it is I'm not even sorry. Sean Combs is one of the most disgusting human beings. He's right there behind Jeffrey Epstein, or with Jeffrey Epstein, right next to each other, and with Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
he's that gross.
Those are the 3 kingpins. And Weinstein. Actually, I think Weinstein was worse than Cosby. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
because Cosby
he was.
Cosby was really bad, but Weinstein was like, he was so systematic in like, he was in the system so hard while doing it.
And that's the thing. Weinstein held them accountable for their jobs. You know, he was the quintessential sex couch. You know, like,
Yeah.
that's what he did. Yeah, the old, you know.
Yeah, and then Cosby was really bad, but he wasn't as systematic than a lot
He
of
was
the.
systematic. I think there was like 26 women that he drugged and
Or what I mean is like not like as you know, system. Like he didn't utilize the system as a whole as much as a lot of these other guys. You know, like
it was his individual. Yeah,
he was more like of a solo targeter.
Although most of the women thought he did go under the pretense he was going to help these women with their careers. So they're all the same. They're all like using their privilege.
Yeah, I think that
as in the field, you know, P Diddy was a music producer. And then he's using her. He made her sign a contract. Hello, people. She signed a contract with him. He owned everything of hers. She had nothing. She couldn't say no without him beating the crap out of her. She couldn't even leave him. Not only that, she believed that she loved him. But that was him grooming her. You know,
yeah,
she really is a victim.
P Diddy is going to be a case to remember, among.
I hope to God he goes gone. He's gone for never coming back out. I hope he's gone in prison forever. He's gross.
Yeah, and hopefully, that P Diddy really joining among the greats such as Jeffrey Epstein and.
I have to say. Oh yeah, and Bill Cosby, Weinstein. But I was gonna say, he brought in a Bible to court and was wearing like this little old man, Mr. Rogers vest and a Bible. It's
because he's trying to seem innocent.
Reading that Bible freaking 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. But
also, have we just thought that it's kind of like funny his name, like. It's like almost P. comical. P Diddy was a diddler. The Diddy diddled.
Yeah, that was his saying. He liked to diddle more than anything else.
Yeah, how
he was a voyeur.
That's like a comic book villain name right there. It's like it's Diddy. He's the diddler.
But he won't go by P Diddy now. They keep referring to him Sean Combs, because they're trying to get that out of there. The P Diddy name away, but you know what, he's dirty. He's so filthy right now. He's rolling in shit dirt,
and anyone associated with him is trying to jump ship and leave.
He's never gonna be clean again. He won't get off, because like I said, the firearms and the drugs, they'll come back and get him for that.
The firearms, the drugs, and those are the big things. You know how they got Al Capone?
Yeah,
they got him for taxes. That's how they got old Al Capone. That's the thing, is that the government, they know everything. The FBI might not be able to get you, but you know who will get you? The DEA and the ATF. Those guys love to. They will come in. They will shoot you. They will shoot your dog. They do not care. All right. Nope, and with P Diddy, they would be vicious on that.
They have him, and. They haven't even they haven't even filed those charges against him. They can, but they haven't. Anyway, that's I'm done.
That right there is about it.
We got it.
Let
us know in the comments what you think. Let us know in the comments what you guys think.
Yeah,
what is it like?
Exactly. Just like a quick comment before we finish. I always was curious about P Diddy even was able to do that to those women with how much baby oil. I feel like they would just slide out of his grip.
Well, I think they laid down, apparently when I was listening to it, they would bring sheets in, ask for extra linen, so they would lay it down, and then again he would have a blow up pool.
Still though,
I know, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's still so gross. But that right there is going to be it for now. The case is still evolving. We'll probably, maybe when he gets, actually convicted, or for some reason he walks free, which I don't see.
It won't happen. I will tell you right now, it won't happen. They're gonna turn it around and they're gonna show that it was indentured servitude.
Yeah, I do
My
agree.
personal opinion. I think that's how it's gonna be. Anyway,
Yep,
we'll
that
see. Well, I
will
think
be-
we should touch base again in like 3 weeks on this and see how it's going.
All right. Yep. For now, though, that'll be it. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.